You think that whole grain cereal you had this morning is protecting your heart, but if you are over 60, it may be quietly shredding your kidneys one bowl at a time, and you will not feel a single thing until the damage is already done. My name is Dr. James Cole. I am a board-certified nephrologist, and in 20 years of practice, I have watched this exact kind of morning routine send good people, careful people, health-conscious people, straight to dialysis. Today, I am going to show you the 4 hidden poisons doing this, where they are hiding right now in your home, and the simple concrete swaps you can make starting today to stop the destruction before it goes any further. Stay with me. This video could be the most important 20 minutes you spend this year. Before we get into the list, here is the one thing you need to understand about your kidneys that changes everything. They are silent, completely, dangerously silent. They process 200 quarts of your blood every single day, filtering toxins, regulating pressure, keeping you alive, and they do it without a single complaint, without a single warning, until more than half of their function is already gone. By the time you feel the ankle swelling, the crushing fatigue, the 2 a.m. cramps that will not quit, the damage is often permanent. That is not a scare tactic. That is the conversation I have had in my exam room more times than I can count, with people who had no idea anything was wrong. And here is why age makes this so much more urgent. Think of a 1968 Mustang with 200,000 miles on it, still runs, still gets down the highway, but it cannot take the abuse it took at 5,000 miles. Pour in bad fuel, skip the maintenance, and that engine fails ahead of schedule. Not because it was weak, but because it was worn down by the wrong kind of care. Your kidneys after 60 are that Mustang. Their filtering capacity decreases naturally each decade. The 4 poisons I am about to name take that natural decline and drive it off a cliff. Let us go. Poison number 4 is going to surprise you because it is not in your kitchen, not in your medicine cabinet, and not on any ingredient label. It is your couch, your recliner, your desk chair, a sedentary lifestyle. The slow, accumulated damage of sitting for hours without moving is one of the most powerful kidney killers in existence, and most people never connect it because there is no pain, no signal, nothing to point at. Here is why it matters so much. Picture the Mississippi River at full current, wide, moving with force, carrying clean, oxygenated water to everything along its banks. Now picture a pond in Georgia in late August. No inlet, no outlet, no wind for weeks. The surface is green. Something is decomposing underneath. That water is toxic. Your circulatory system is one of those 2 things, and which one it is depends almost entirely on whether you move. When you walk, when you get up, when your muscles contract and your heart pumps, blood moves powerfully through every vessel and every microscopic filter in your kidneys, delivering the oxygen and pressure they need to function. But when you sit for 6, 8, 10 hours without breaking it up, that river goes still. Blood sugar stops clearing. Insulin resistance begins building. Weight accumulates around your organs. Blood pressure climbs. And your kidney filters sit in that stagnant, oxygen-starved environment, suffocating quietly, day after day, without making a sound. I want you to meet Mike. He was a structural engineer from Columbus, Ohio. Brilliant man, 35 years of real work behind him. When he retired at 65, he had earned every bit of the rest he planned to take. The recliner went on. The game came on. Meals appeared at the chair. He was living exactly the retirement he had always pictured. When Mike walked into my office at 68, his blood pressure was out of control despite 3 separate medications, and his kidney function had dropped to numbers that genuinely alarmed me. I asked him what his daily movement looked like. He smiled. I walk to the refrigerator, Doc. Sometimes I take the long way around. He meant it as a joke. I remember sitting across from him, this warm, accomplished, completely unsuspecting man, and having to tell him that his kidneys had been suffocating in a stagnant pond for 3 years while he watched the game. Not one moment of pain, not one flicker of warning, just silence, while the damage piled up in the dark. Here is the good news about this poison. It is the most reversible one on the entire list. You do not need a gym, you do not need a trainer or a program or any equipment at all. Set an alarm on your phone right now, every hour. When it goes off, stand up. Walk to the window, walk to the kitchen and back. Stretch your arms above your head for 30 seconds. That act alone begins reactivating your circulation. Build from there to a 10-minute walk after dinner, then 15, then 20. You are pushing a wave of clean, oxygen-rich blood through your kidney filters every single day. You are keeping the river moving, and the river must keep moving. Poison number 3 is in your medicine cabinet right now, and it is dangerous precisely because it wears the disguise of relief. I am talking about over-the-counter NSAID pain pills. Ibuprofen, that is Advil, that is Motrin, naproxen, that is Aleve, diclofenac. Millions of Americans take one of these every single day for bad backs, aching knees, arthritis that never fully goes away. And because you can buy them at a gas station without anyone asking a single question, the brain quietly files them under harmless. Here's what the brain gets wrong, and I want to explain it the way I would explain a broken machine to a friend, not a lecture hall. Inside your kidneys, there are tiny chemical messengers called prostaglandins. Their job is to keep the small arteries feeding your kidney filters open and relaxed, to maintain the full, steady blood flow your filters need to survive. NSAIDs block prostaglandins to quiet pain. That is their mechanism. The problem is, they are not selective. They block the prostaglandins in your knee and the prostaglandins protecting your kidney's blood supply at the same time. Those tiny arteries constrict, they tighten up, blood flow to your kidney tissue drops sharply. Now think of the garden hose you use every morning to water your tomatoes out back. At full pressure, the garden thrives. Step on that hose and almost nothing gets through. Your tomatoes begin wilting at the edges. Step on it once and everything recovers fine. But step on it every single morning, every afternoon, every evening, for months, for years, and the garden dies. The kidney filters scar over. That tissue does not come back. And here is what should genuinely keep you up at night. You will never feel a single moment of this happening. No pain, no signal, no alarm of any kind, just silence while the scarring accumulates. This is what happened to Sarah. She was a retired elementary school teacher from the Tampa Bay area. One of those people who lit up every room she walked into, remembered every student she had taught for 30 years. She had developed severe arthritis in both knees, and the pain was constant and real, and it was limiting her life. So she managed it the way so many people do, on her own, quietly, without making a fuss. Ibuprofen, 3 or 4 times a day, every day, for years. A bottle in her purse, one on the nightstand, one by the coffee maker in the kitchen. She never mentioned it to her primary care doctor because in her mind it simply did not register as a medication. It was just something she took, the way she drank her morning coffee. When she came to me at 71 and I pulled up her lab results, her creatinine levels told me she had moderate chronic kidney disease. I remember the exact moment I told her. The color left her face like someone had turned off a light switch. She went very still, that specific terrible stillness that happens when a person is trying to determine whether what they just heard is actually real. And then, after a silence that I will never forget, she looked at me and said very softly, "But doctor, it was just Advil." Both things are true. It was just Advil, and just Advil can absolutely do this to a person. That is the tragedy of it. If you are taking an NSAID every day for any reason, that is not a pharmacy errand. It is a conversation with your doctor. Acetaminophen, sold as Tylenol, is generally far gentler on kidney tissue when taken at the correct dose. Physical therapy, heat, cold, targeted movement, these accomplish things over the long term that daily pills cannot. And please tell your doctor everything you are taking, every supplement, every vitamin, every product you keep by the sink. Many combination cold medicines and sleep aids contain hidden NSAIDs. Your doctor cannot protect you from what you have not told them. Poison number 2 is the one that produces the most visible shock in my exam room, every single time. Patients sit down and tell me, "Doctor, I am extremely careful about salt. I gave up the shaker years ago." And I say, "I hear you. Now let me show you something." Because the salt shaker on your table is almost irrelevant to the actual problem. Research has demonstrated consistently that more than 75% of the sodium Americans consume every day was already inside the food before it reached their kitchen. Engineered in by manufacturers who discovered long ago that sodium preserves products, extends shelf life, and keeps people craving more. It is in the bread under your turkey sandwich, the frozen dinner you heated on a tired Tuesday, the canned soup with the garden painted on the label, the cereal with the heart symbol on the front that does not taste remotely salty. Take whatever package is nearest to you right now. Flip it over. Find sodium. What does the number say? I want you to feel the moment my patients feel when they see it for the first time. Here is what excess sodium does in your body. Your system retains fluid to dilute it. Blood volume rises. The pressure inside your arterial walls climbs. This is hypertension, the second leading cause of kidney failure in this country. And I need you to carry one image with you for the rest of your life when you think about blood pressure and kidneys. Your kidney filters, the glomeruli, are woven from capillary networks so extraordinarily delicate that silk looks rough by comparison. Now picture someone connecting a firefighter's industrial pressure hose to that silk and opening the valve at full force. How many days before it is shredded? How long before scar tissue replaces functioning tissue that can never filter again? That is what uncontrolled high blood pressure does, not in one dramatic event, but in thousands of quiet, invisible ones. Day after day, no pain, no announcement, just destruction on a schedule you cannot see. Your ceiling as a healthy adult is 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. If you already have high blood pressure, your target is 1,500. Flip every package before it goes in your cart. Cook at home whenever you can. That is the only place you have genuine control. And discover what your spice rack can actually do. Garlic, smoked paprika, rosemary, cumin, a squeeze of lemon over roasted vegetables, a splash of red wine vinegar in anything. These transform flavor completely with zero sodium. Rinse canned vegetables before cooking. That single step washes away a significant portion of the engineered salt. Give your palate 3 weeks of lower sodium eating, and you will notice that heavily processed food starts tasting almost aggressively salty to you. That shift is not just your taste buds adjusting, that is your kidneys starting to breathe. And now we have arrived at the one I have been building towards since the very first second, the #1 kidney poison, the most widespread, the most damaging, and the one wearing the most convincing disguise of everything on today's list. I am talking about sugar and refined flour, working together, coordinating, functioning as a single weapon aimed directly at your kidneys. Birthday cake and Sunday morning waffles, a glass of orange juice, white bread, white pasta, white rice, muffins, crackers, sodas, bottled iced tea, sweetened cereal with the whole grain claim on the front. These are not exotic threats from somewhere far away. They are the most familiar, most beloved, most deeply embedded things in the American kitchen. They are woven into every celebration and every ordinary morning. That is the disguise. The wolf does not look like a wolf. It looks like breakfast. Here is what happens inside your body when this combination enters your system. You eat that bowl of cereal, or that bagel, or that glass of OJ you have been told for 20 years is a healthy start to the day. Your blood sugar spikes sharply. Your pancreas, loyal and tireless, floods your bloodstream with insulin to bring it down. Normal response, exactly right. But when that same wave of glucose hits your blood every morning, every afternoon, every evening, for years, for decades, your cells begin to go deaf to insulin signal. They have heard it so many times at such high volume that they stop responding. Blood sugar stays elevated. Your pancreas pushes out more insulin. Your cells ignore it further. Eventually, that chronically elevated blood sugar stops being a temporary state and becomes the permanent condition. This is type 2 diabetes, the single leading cause of kidney failure on the entire planet. And what does it do specifically to your kidney filters? It caramelizes them. I use that word deliberately because I want it to land in your body, not just your brain. Glucose bonds chemically to the delicate filtering proteins inside your kidneys in a process so similar to what happens to sugar in a hot pan that the medical name for it, glycation, describes the same fundamental chemistry. Those once supple, whisper-thin filters become stiff, brittle, rigid, and non-functional. This is diabetic nephropathy, and it is the fastest, most direct road to a dialysis machine that exists in modern medicine, paved meal by meal, year by year, out of sugar and white flour. But this poison does not stop at one front. That is what makes it different from everything else on today's list. Everything else attacks from one direction. This attacks from all of them at once. While the blood sugar spiral is manufacturing diabetes and caramelizing your filters, sugar is simultaneously raising your blood pressure through pathways that have nothing to do with sodium. It inflames the walls of blood vessels directly. It overstimulates the sympathetic nervous system, which constricts arteries throughout your body. It disrupts the molecular mechanisms your kidneys use to regulate fluid at the cellular level. So even if you have become a masterful label detective and brought your sodium intake down to exactly where it needs to be, excess sugar is still lifting that firefighter's hose and pointing it at your silk every single day. And beneath that is the inflammation, because sugar is, in a precise biochemical sense, fire running through your vascular system. Chronic, low-grade, silent fire that erodes the inner lining of every blood vessel in your body, including the microscopic ones threaded through your kidney tissue, consuming the structural foundation of your health while you feel absolutely nothing at all. And simultaneously, because this poison never stops when it can do more damage, every gram of sugar your body cannot immediately burn converts directly to fat. fat that packs around your organs, fat that deposits inside your liver, creating fatty liver disease and the metabolic dysfunction that cascades from it, reaching directly into kidney function. Each front of this assault feeds the others. Each one closes off another exit route. That is why this is number one. That is why this is the poison that ends retirements, fills dialysis centers 3 mornings a week, and shortens lives not with a dramatic event, but with thousands of quiet meals across decades of accumulated harm. Here is how you fight back, starting today. Sugar hides under more than 60 names on ingredient labels. High fructose corn syrup, dextrose, maltose, cane juice, agave nectar, brown rice syrup, same wolf, 60 different costumes. Learn them, and make the single most powerful change available to you right now. Eliminate liquid sugar. One 12-ounce can of regular soda contains 10 full teaspoons of sugar. One bottle of commercial fruit juice or sweet tea carries at least as much. Replace them with water. Sparkling water with a wedge of lemon. Unsweetened herbal tea. That one substitution begins shifting your metabolic environment within weeks in ways that show up in your blood work. Be suspicious of anything labeled low-fat or fat-free. Manufacturers replace the removed fat with sugar to restore flavor, and the result is not healthier, it is just better disguised. Choose plain, full-fat yogurt and add your own fresh fruit. Swap white bread for genuine whole grain, where the very first ingredient listed is a whole grain, not enriched flour. Choose brown rice. Eat rolled oats. Build your meals around vegetables, legumes, fish, eggs, lean meat, nuts, and seeds. When your plate is built on real food, sugar and refined flour crowd themselves out naturally, not through deprivation or suffering, but through displacement. Real food leaves no room for the imposters. Before I let you go, here is what I need you to hold on to. Every single threat we named today is within your power to address. The stagnant pond. Stand up right now, even for 5 minutes, and start the river moving. The garden hose. Call your doctor tomorrow and have the conversation about your pain management that you have been putting off. The firefighter's hose. Flip the next package over before it goes in your cart and find that sodium number. The coordinated assault. Put water in your hand right now instead of whatever you were reaching for. These are small acts. They are yours, and they compound over time in ways that are measurable and real. Kidney disease is not inevitable. It is not written into your future in permanent ink. The information you are walking away with right now is the most powerful protection you have. Share this video with someone you love. One conversation could change the next decade of their life. Subscribe and turn on your notifications so you are there when the next video goes up. And leave me a comment below. Tell me which of the 4 poisons genuinely surprised you, and which one you are going to tackle first. I read every single one. I am Dr. James Cole. Your kidneys have worked for you without complaint, without recognition, and without rest every second of your life. Return the favor. Protect them. Start today. I will see you in the next one.